It's secret women's business that's so secret, many don't even recognise it, despite it being something every woman will go through. Menopause, transition, the change. It doesn't matter what you call it, it can be overwhelming for both women and men. But thankfully, it isn't terminal. And it doesn't have to be life-destroying, even though many women feel they're going mad when they're in the middle of it. And even better, once diagnosed, there are treatments that not only work, but contrary to long-held belief, are also safe. For more than 20 years, Michelle and Paddy Abbey have enjoyed the long and winding road of marriage and raising 3 children. Then, 4 years ago, in her late 40s, Michelle started to experience the first signs of perimenopause, the precursor to menopause, putting the brakes on life as she knew it. Now 51 and only recently diagnosed by doctors, Michelle is suffering symptoms that are devastating, but sadly not unique. What are the worst symptoms you've suffered?
The worst is the sweats, the mood swings, forgetting things. I started my master's in education. I had to put that on a delay for a bit because I just couldn't retain information and it was freaking me out. Then I woke up one day and I went, oh my God, my feet are killing me.
How are you feeling in yourself, Michelle? I mean, obviously you're describing all these physical ailments. I mean, what was your mood like during, or what, and I shouldn't put it in the past tense because we're talking about now, aren't we, still?
This is what I did.
I'd gather you were not feeling that great. No.
You go through bouts of depression and then you're anxious and you're overthinking everything you do. And then at work, I display a strong exterior, but at times on things that were important to me, I'd break down like this and I go, what is wrong with me? And my family was struggling to understand what was wrong with me. And it was hard. It was really hard, and I know no one talks about it. I'm sorry.
Menopause was a similar, unavoidable and unfunny journey of discovery for comedian Jean Kitson. Overwhelming hot flushes, anxiety, aching feet and mood swings.
We don't know about it. No one tells us. There's also formication, which sounds like sex with bureaucrats, but it's actually the sensation of ants crawling all over your skin. That's the symptom of menopause.
It's a coming of age that no one wants. And if menopause is ever mentioned, the way it's talked about strikes fear into female hearts. What do you think of the way menopause is described? The menopause, the change. That sounds horrifying.
The change. That just sounds like the end. It's all over. You know, that's the end of her. Say goodbye to your mother now. We won't be seeing her again.
On average, the so-called change of life hits us around 50. But the symptoms of perimenopause can appear 5 to 10 years before then. And that can mean a lot of confusion and anguish. For as Dr. Kelly Teagle knows, many women are blindsided by severe symptoms. How bad can it get?
I have women who come to me in tears saying that they think they're going mad. That's a really common one.
Why do you think there seems to be such a gap in our knowledge about ourselves at this time of life?
I think that it's very much perceived as being the downward spiral, you know, that it's all around ageing and that they're not going to be up to the job. So I think, unfortunately, it has a lot of negative connotations that lead women to feel shame and deny what's happening to them.
Busy?
Always busy, I'm in a hurry.
Okay.
I'm always rushing.
If women don't know what's happening to their own bodies, then the men who love them are truly in the dark. Many a day, Michelle's husband, Paddy, thought he was married to a stranger. Well, Paddy, what did you think was going on?
Fucking no idea. You know what I mean? Like, because she's such a happy, outgoing person, and like, obviously you have rows or whatever over it, but any little thing would set her off now. And she didn't know what it was, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it must be an incredibly confusing time.
Yeah, it is. Like, you think, Jesus, is it the marriage not working out? Like, is things going bad? You start thinking that, like, are we not getting on?
I even think I said to the kids a few times, I think this is it. Can't do this anymore.
Slim pickings this morning, chooks. You are.
For Jean Kitson and her husband, cartoonist Patrick Cook, marriage and menopause were not always happy bedfellows.
Oh, Pablo, stop that.
The stereotype of a menopausal woman is that she's snappy and angry and bitchy and all that. But I don't think that's really true. A lot of women lose their confidence, they feel more anxious in anger. And they might snap, but it comes out of a feeling of, like, what's going on.
Did you ever walk on eggshells?
Oh, absolutely. If you see a very much awake but reclining lioness, for example, in a clearing, you don't go galloping up and say, "Want to play?" And certain topics you'd have to avoid.
Like what?
Do you have menopause?
Is it red still?
Yeah. Do you know?
Oh, we know what card you have, Lynn.
One of the most destructive aspects of menopause, the one most whispered about, is loss of libido. For many couples going through it, there are plenty of arguments, just not a lot of making up or making out. This is very confronting, this question, but, you know, where would you rate your sex drive right now? Not right now.
I was going to say, I better be getting paid for this. I'll have to put in an effort.
Taking his shirt off. No.
It's pretty much nil almost. Yeah. It's pretty much nil. And I think they explained to me because I've lost a certain hormone. And that would happen with all women. Unless some women have never felt this, then introduce me to them because this is normal. And
Do you like normal?
No, I don't.
No wonder women feel lost and lonely, especially with a medical world largely silent on what to do about this universal stage of life. What was your experience when you went to get medical help, assuming you went to get medical help?
Well, my first experience was just going to the chemist. So I went to the chemist and I said, "Look, I don't know what's happening to me. I'm getting really hot at night. I'm sleepless. You know, I've got bags under my eyes the size of cabin luggage. And this is the truth. This is what really started me on my what the hell is going on? Why is there so much secrecy?" She glanced furtively around the shop and then she looked at me and she mouthed the words, "hot flushes." Mouthed them, didn't even whisper them. She mouthed the words "hot flushes" as if it was something to be ashamed of, as if it was something you couldn't speak about, as if she was saying Voldemort lives, you know, like, what? What is this woman doing? This is a woman who would, you know, if I said I had genital warts, she'd take me to a shelf and show me genital warts, come over here, you know, but she would no more say hot flushes out loud.
Did you get a better reception from the doctor than the pharmacy?
Yes, well, yes, I did, because then I went to a female doctor who was going through menopause herself and she just said, "Here, have what I'm having."
And it wasn't a joint, was it?
No, it wasn't a joint.
Have you got a towel?
While her experience with menopause was anything but pleasant, Jean is keen to reassure us life as we know it need not end with the change. But it's out there, is what you're saying. Help is out there.
Help is out there. And it's a really liberating time of life.
So it's just one pump.
And Michelle is now taking the first step to the rest of her life, testing a therapy long denied to women around the world. Considering what you've been through for the last 4 or 5 years, how desperate are you for this to work?
Very. I'm really desperate. I just want my life back. That's all I want.
"51-year-old Michelle Abbey works hard at being fit and healthy. But menopause has made this mum of 3 miserable and physically exhausted. It took years of various medical appointments, and not until she found a GP practice that specialised in women's health that Michelle finally discovered why her world was falling apart.
And I think it was the first time that someone actually had the time to listen. And it was just nice talking to someone that got it. And you don't get that often.
No.
We went through all these checklists and it talked about sleeping, sweats, moods, depression. The one thing that got me was when she said, "Do you feel unloved?" And I said, "Oh my God." And I said, "That's just such an unusual question, but yeah, you do," because sometimes I would just cry for no reason. My husband would go, "What's going on?" And I go, "I don't know. I don't know."
Michelle has now been prescribed HRT, hormone replacement therapy, which is also now known as menopause hormone therapy, or MHT.
I just want my life back. That's all I want.
But for a long time, in the world of menopause treatment, HRT has been considered a dirty word, with a study from 20 years ago linking it to a frightening increased risk of breast cancer. And so almost overnight, women and doctors abandoned the therapy. But with nothing as effective to replace it, women have pretty much been left on their own ever since to suffer through menopause. As it turns out, for most, that suffering has been completely unnecessary.
If they have debilitating symptoms that are really impacting their ability to function, it's just devastating to see them putting up with that when you know that there's something safe and effective that could be so helpful to them.
For the past 20 years, we've believed the shock headlines told the story of just how unsafe HRT is. But that study, linking HRT to breast cancer, has since been discredited as flawed. It's rarely talked about, but the truth is, while HRT may not be for all women, depending on their health, it can help most. Recent studies have found it doesn't lead to significant increase in breast cancer in women aged 50 to 59, or in women who start treatment within 10 years of menopause. And according to Dr. Kelly Teagle, there are other health benefits to also consider.
For example, we know that it helps to protect against the development of cardiovascular disease. It also keeps bones strong. We know that women actually die less often from COVID, and also it may be preventing Alzheimer's and things like that is being heavily researched. Morning, how are you going, Cassandra? I'll be just a minute.
Herself a GP, Dr. Teagle is well versed in all sorts of health challenges from all ages. But it wasn't until she was 42, when she started experiencing early onset menopause, that she understood the vacuum of knowledge for many doctors around something every woman will go through. How would you describe that time of your life?
It was a bit of a red-hot mess.
As a GP, did you know what was going on?
I should have. I wish I'd realised earlier, I think. But, like many women, my life at midlife was very complex. So, I probably didn't twig as early as I should have. Sort of struggling with symptoms.
Shocked by her own oversight, Dr. Teagle established WellFem, a telehealth service to reach Australian women anywhere. When you consider the number of women who don't know about their options, would you say that women have been let down?
I think this is an endemic problem that relates to menopause and menopausal women being largely invisible. So I think this ties back in with why it's been largely ignored by medicine.
As a politician, I'm on a mission to make us all menopause warriors. We started the revolution, and you can only get better from here on in.
It is a worldwide failure, one that British MP Carolyn Harris is committed to fixing.
This is 500 A4 pages of comments that would absolutely break your heart. It is an absolute national disgrace what is in here.
To help her suffering constituents, Carolyn Harris has lodged a private members' bill in the British Parliament, which, if passed in October, will make HRT available for free to women in England.
October the 29th.
So that seemed to me to be the one that would make the biggest difference in the short term to women. But now people are saying, oh, let's talk about this a bit more. Let's find out what else is going on here.
Are you finding that people want to listen?
Yeah, the response to me starting to talk about it has been absolutely phenomenal. But there has been some quite emotional responses that have been given. I remember one debate when the minister responding was a man. When he was younger, he remembers his mother being taken away to an asylum.
My mother was 50 years old.
But they then found out she had menopause. And that was really emotional for me.
She was carted out of the house and she ended up in what can only be described as a Victorian asylum.
As well as free hormone therapy, Carolyn Harris is campaigning for flexibility in the workforce for women going through menopause and more medical schools to include menopause on the curriculum. Currently, 41% in the UK don't even bother.
If they're not prepared to do that now, then I'm prepared to name and shame. The same with employers. I can stand in the House of Commons chamber and I can say, Joe Bloggs does not care about his workforce. And Joe Bloggs better look out if I ever do that, because I will really go to town on them.
Oh, right near the lady reading the book too.
It's a revolution Jean Kitson is right behind. Her own shock experience of menopause was tempered by HRT, and she's made it to the other side, also known as post-menopausal.
That was a bouncy one.
But she was so appalled by the taboo of talking about menopause, she wrote a book about it.
It's really important that women know that we're not diminished by menopause. Once we have the right treatment for menopause, we are strengthened by menopause. We are more in control of our own lives. We can focus on us. It's a really great time of life. It's a very empowering time of life. You know, it's a time when we just don't take shit anymore.
You're Still Hot to Me is an insightful and, as you'd imagine, funny read. It was also illustrated by Jean's husband, cartoonist Patrick Cook, who she credits with unwavering support, no matter the temperature in the room during the worst of it. And is she still hot to you?
Not very much.
What did you say?
Oh, I said you're still hot now.
Oh, thank you, darling. I thought you said not very much. So, yeah, deafness comes with menopause. It's another symptom, apparently.
This is body cream with benefits, right?
Yeah.
Perimenopausal and miserable for the past 4 years, Michelle Abbey overcame her fears to start on HRT a month ago, recommended to do so by a GP specialising in women's health.
I told her about I'm really scared of cancer like anyone else, and she talked to me about the study and how it wasn't done well, and there was no evidence that it did link to it.
Michelle was suffering severe menopause symptoms. Her husband Paddy claims to have just been long suffering.
There's nothing I can do. I think she's just gone nuts or something, like, you know what I mean?
But now, after just a month of hormone replacement therapy, Michelle is already reporting a difference. What's been the biggest change, if any?
No more hot sweats.
None at all?
None. So that's huge.
And while it's early days, with some symptoms still prevalent, Michelle and Paddy are no longer fighting, and Michelle has her energy and hope restored. What is it like to take your life back again, take control of your health? You know, kick menopause out the door.
Oh, it's amazing. I can't explain it. And I'm not going to cry because I'm not crying as much anymore, but I do tear up thinking I've got myself back. I feel me, a Michelle.
That must be a great feeling.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes, segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.